Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol, and welcome to my kitchen and Baking with Success. Today we're going to be making Scallion Chive rolls, which are the most delicious little yeast rolls that you can serve as dinner rolls or even as a little slider roll for pulled pork or hamburgers. Absolutely delicious. So before I get started, since there's scallion and chives in them, I've taken a stick of unsalted butter, melted it, and sauteed only for a minute, half a cup of chopped chives and half a cup of scallions. And then I just let it cool down. And that'll give beautiful color with the flecks of green in our dough. So let's get started on our yeast dough, and it's a very quick dough. So I've taken 1.5 tablespoons of honey, which I already put in my electric mixing bowl. And then I have 2 cups minus 1 tablespoon of 100-degree water. Now I have a thermometer. If you don't have a thermometer at home, don't worry about it. If you can stick your finger in it and feel like you could take a bath in that water, it's perfect. You just don't want to kill your yeast. So I'm going to pour it into my honey. And at this point, I'm not going to use a spoon. I'm going to use my great helpers, my hands. So I'm going to put my right hand in, and I'm just going to mix it around because I really want that honey to dissolve. It's not going to sweeten our rolls, but it's going to get great food for the yeast. Yeast loves sweet things, and that's going to force it to multiply and undergo fermentation. So we get lots of puffiness in our rolls. In this large bowl, I'm getting my dry ingredients ready, and they include 5 cups of bread flour, 1 cup of white whole wheat flour, 1 tablespoon plus 1/4 teaspoon of fast rising yeast, 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 1/4 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 cup minus 1 tablespoon of instant non-fat dry milk powder, and 1 tablespoon plus 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar. And I just whisked it all together. Now that I have my dry ingredients ready, my mise en place, my scallions and my chives, I'm going to add my cooled down scallions and chives and butter right into my water and honey. Just add it all in. You don't even have to mix it at this point. Then I'm going to get, because there's a lot of dry ingredients, I'm going to fit my bowl with a dough hook. Start it on low speed, unless you want to be wearing it, low speed. And then I'm going to slowly add my dry ingredients. And I can even, if it makes it easier, you can actually hold it up and actually start adding it cupful by cupful, and then start that dough hook going on low speed. You want to make sure your dry ingredients are incorporated. It's so important. Many of my students make very dry bread because they don't incorporate the flour that's stuck on the bottom of the electric mixing bowl. So be sure to stop your machine periodically and scrape it down with a rubber spatula. And I'm going to do that now. Once you've mixed for a few minutes and you've gotten all your flour and your dry ingredients into the bowl, you're going to notice that this dough is going to start forming on the hook, but there's a lot of dry ingredients that are stuck to the side of the bowl. So stop your machine, pull everything off the dough hook, and reincorporate some things either with a rubber spatula or your hands. And just sort of flip it over so that the dry pieces get incorporated. That's really the biggest tip I can give you, so your bread does not come out dry. So while your dry ingredients are getting incorporated, it's very important that you pay attention to your dough and actually feel it. And you can see I have felt it and incorporated some of those dry pieces of flour and dough in the bottom of it into the moister pieces. If you see, this is the area where you can adjust. So if you see your dough is too dry, add a few more drops of water. If you see your dough is too wet, then you can add a little bit more flour. But you really want a slightly sticky dough that's going to come together very nicely. Now I'm going to stop my machine. I'm going to pull up, and you're going to see this is all together. There is no dry anything on the bottom. So this is nice and incorporated. It's slightly sticky. It looks like the blob. And now I'm going to turn my machine on medium speed and I'm going to knead it. And that's what that dough hook does. It kneads. If you want to do this on your work surface, you can. And if you're next to the edge of a table like I am, don't go anywhere because your electric mixer could vibrate right off the table. I've had that happen. So do this for about 4 minutes and that'll bring everything together and actually start forming your gluten strands and getting them nice and stretchy so they'll hold lots of carbon dioxide and your buns will rise very nicely. It's been 4 minutes, so I'm stopping my machine. I'm going to pull my dough off the dough hook and I can see it's beautiful. And beautiful, what I mean by beautiful, it's nice and elastic. It's come together into this beautiful blob. I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to bring it into a big bowl. Make sure the bowl is quite large. Spray it with nonstick cooking spray. Put it in the bowl and press down, flip it over so that the grease side is up. That way it will not dry out. And then we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and let it rise. Get a nice warm spot in your house. I have a nice pantry that's nice and warm in the closet. So I always put my doughs in there. But make sure you cover it. It could be a nice clean kitchen towel or a nice piece of plastic wrap. And just cover it really, really tightly. All right, so I'm going to go get another piece of plastic wrap and put mine in the closet. So this is going to rise for about an hour till it doubles in volume. So my dough has risen. It's been about an hour, and I divided it in half. So I have a digital scale, so I'm going to divide my dough into 2-ounce pieces, and there'll be about 14 of them when I'm done. Now, if you don't have a digital scale, don't get upset. Just divide the dough into 14 equal pieces, okay, by making it into like a long snake and dividing it in half, and each get 7 pieces out of each. So I'm going to show you. I'm just going to zero this and just get about 2 pieces to show you about what 2 ounces would look like. All right. So about 2 ounces is about like that. That's about a 2-ounce piece. So it's not going to actually be huge. So I'm going to continue cutting these and making 2-ounce pieces because I happen to have the digital scale here. All right. My 14 pieces of dough are laid out. And let me show you how to shape them into little balls. So you're going to push them out a little bit with your fingers, gather all the sides up, flip it over, make a C with your finger, and drag it across your work surface. Do not put any flour on the work surface or you will have very dry rolls. You need friction. Friction is good. And if you don't have enough friction, you can always add a drop of water or 2. But no more. So see how I have that perfect little ball and you can see the scallion and chive showing through? That's beautiful. So I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to do my next one with my fingertips. Gather, flip it over with a C, drag it. So you're actually creating basically a little elastic skin around the roll. That's going to hold in your carbon dioxide because we want them to get nice and puffy, but we also have to let them rise one more time before they go into the oven. So that's beautiful. And what we're going to do is take a 9-inch cake pan and circle a circular cake pan. And then what you're going to do is spray it with nonstick cooking spray, dust it with a little flour, and you're going to put 8 balls all around, leave a little space, and as I roll more of them out, you'll see what they look like. Remember, drag it. You're going to feel a lot of friction on this table, and that's okay. All right, so here I go. This really works your biceps. Good to know, right? Especially when you're going to be eating these delicious carbs. Okay, here I go. And sometimes if you get really good, watch. You can do it 2-fisted. And sometimes it's hard to do. But you make a C and you just sort of drag it on your work surface. See that? Oh, nice. Nice. All right, so I have 3, 6, 7. I got 1 more. And then I'm going to put 8 around the circumference of my circular cake pan, and I'm going to put 4 rounds in the middle. All right, 4 rounds in the middle. And you're going to drag it till you get that beautiful skin on the top. I'm going to separate them. There will be a space. Don't get upset. There's a space, but when they rise, that space is going to disappear because your rolls are going to grow. So I'm going to do 4 more for the center, and I'm going to have 2 left over. So what I'm going to do is bake those on a separate cake pan. Or if you don't want to put them in a cake pan, you can actually put them on a sheet pan, and that's what I've done. I've lined a sheet pan with parchment paper. Okay, so that's 2. I got 2 more to go. Okay, and again, you're going to see spaces. Don't get upset. Those spaces will fill in with risen rolls. Delicious risen rolls. All right, so I'm going to put that in there, and you can see that's the way you're going to allow it to rise, just like this. I'm going to cover it with a kitchen towel or some plastic wrap. Give it an hour, all right? And my other 2 rolls are going to go right on that sheet pan. Look at our rolls. It's been 1 hour, and look how much they've grown. They've actually gotten cozy with each other, and they sort of puffed and rose into their neighbor. And that's exactly what we want. So when they bake off, they're going to be coming up now and getting puffy and delicious. And even the rolls here, you can see they've doubled in size. So you would have done this for the other half of your dough as well. So you'll have 2 circular cake pans going into the oven and 4 rolls. You'll put the other 2 extra on there. Then you take 1 egg, lightly beaten, and you're going to egg wash each roll before it goes into the oven. And you're going to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And don't forget to egg wash your little guys over here. And then I like to take just a little bit of kosher salt, just a little bit, and sprinkle a little bit over each roll, just to give it a little zip when you bite into it. So you're going to have that oniony flavor, and you're going to have that little bit of saltiness. Do the same for these guys over here. And then you're going to put them in the oven for 20 to 23 minutes, and they're going to get golden brown on top, and they're going to be delicious. Our rolls are out of the oven, and don't they look gorgeous, our Scallion Chive rolls. This is what they look like if you just flip the cake pan over and then put them on a plate, and I think they're beautiful. And then everyone can just come over and just peel a couple off for each other. I mean, that's how beautiful they are, with a little butter, a little anything you want. Cut in half, these would make great slider rolls. I'm always having trouble finding those little tiny hamburger buns. This would be perfect, especially with the Scallion Chives in there. Complements anything. Serve them for dinner, serve them for breakfast with eggs. You have a spectacular bread that's really impressive. For this recipe and many, many more, go to my YouTube channel, Chef Gail Sokol, and please visit my website, Baking with Success. Until next time, I'm having lots of fun making videos with you. Take care.